Hello Stampers, Kelly Acheson at stampabove.com coming to you from Menasha, Wisconsin. Today I have some great ideas, great tips to share with you using the Country Home suite of products. And you might find this just a little bit shocking, but there are people that do not like to color. I know, right? No, I'm not. I'm just making fun. Some people don't like to color, and so I'm going to show you a couple great cards that you can make with this particular stamp set that looks like it's filled with a bunch of coloring with the floral images, right? But you don't have to color at all. So I think you'll find this very interesting. And when I started making cards like this, it really made me look at things differently, because if you don't like to color, you're not going to like stamps that have a bunch of outlined images, right? That's not going to be your first choice. But I want you to take another look at them through a new set of idea eyes. And I've also got a great tip with this little label. You're going to love this. Let's get started and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This first card that I'm going to show you is made with some of this gorgeous Country Lane Designer Series paper, and this little display shows what's on one side and then what's on the other. So this is directly on the other side, and so on and so forth. Just some really beautiful paper. I've got a card base that is early espresso. This is 8.5 by 4.5. I am just going to fold it in half and burnish it good. And then I've got another piece of early espresso that's 4 by 5.25. Now I have already run this through the gorgeous tin tile dynamic embossing folder, and isn't that so pretty? This is a very hot pattern in home decor and fashion right now. So we've got that. And then my little piece of designer paper, if I can pick it up here, with the cotton on it, which is also a very hot home decor item right now. Cotton is everywhere. If you go out to the stores, you're gonna see it in floral displays. You're gonna see it in patterns on different, maybe pictures to hang on the wall, maybe even some clothing. Very hot right now. So what I did with the little layer here, this is 1 inch by 5.25. So I'm going to attach this to my tin tile embossed layer. I'm going to put this right over at the left edge, so I'm not leaving any border on that left edge. I really recommend using liquid glue when you're adhering anything to an embossed layer like this. It just really does stick better. And I noticed that this is just a little fraction of an inch over my end there. The next thing I'm going to do is bring in the beautiful braided trim. And I've shown you guys this before, but it is just a little bit heavier than our linen thread there because it's braided, and I like that it's you know, a little bit more substantial. With the braided or with the linen thread, you guys have seen me many times wrap it around my card like 3 times. With this, you don't have to, because it's just so nice. And the other cool thing is that you can fray the ends on it too very easily because it's braided. There's a little piece of glue on my finger. That was kind of gross looking. Shh. Maybe too much information. Yeah, sometimes I do that. I think every once in a while we all do, don't we? Okay, I'm just going to tie a little piece here in a knot. And if you caught one of my videos recently, you saw where I used my Take Your Pick tool, and I used it to fray the end of this braided trim, and that worked so easy, rather than using your fingers to try to pull it apart, because sometimes it's kind of hard to get a hold of something so small, right? But look at that. Isn't that neat? That works out really good. Take Your Pick tool is a new product Mine happens to have a bat mounted on a dimensional, which was a total accident. I probably lost this at one point and then had to make another one because I couldn't find it. And here that little bugger was. So in celebration of the month of October, I'm just going to leave it there for a while. All right, then I have a piece of Whisper White that is 4 1/4 by 5, and we're going to do just a little bit of stamping. I've got Early Espresso and Crushed Curry ink. And I am going to grab the greeting that says, "So grateful for someone like you in my life." I've already die cut the largest stitched shapes framelit circle. So with that Early Espresso ink, I'm going to come in and stamp that greeting right here. And then I'm going to come in with the floral stamp that has the cotton in it, and I'm going to stamp that in Early Espresso. And we're going to put that right down here. It's kind of going into our sentiment on the front here. And we are, almost ready to put this together. I'm going to add a little bit of those flowers right down here at the bottom for my inside layer. And we can start gluing things. Now, this is a really quick and simple card. I think the elements of the card, the embossing folder, the cotton country home designer series paper, the braided trim, and then of course the images, just do everything for this card. You don't have to do a lot of futzing with this because the stamp set, the paper, the embossing folder are all just so beautiful. Make sure you're putting your fingernail into the middle of those dimensionals. That'll help raise up that corner so they're easier to get the backing off. And we're going to add this right down here. And then our inside. And now do you see what I'm talking about? Where even if you think that you have a stamp set where you're going to need to do a lot of coloring with it, there are ways to use those types of stamp sets so you don't have to color at all. Quick and easy, right? Okay, I've got another quick and easy one for you. Here comes the layers for our next card. This one, again, uses a card base that's 8.5 by 5.5. I'm just going to fold that and burnish that edge. And then we've got a piece of our beautiful Blackberry Bliss that's 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to also run this through the tin tile dynamic embossing folder. I'll be right back. And here we go. And I've got a piece of the Country Lane Designer Series paper, this one right here. It is 1 3/4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to add that right to my Blackberry Bliss layer. It's a little different putting it over here. Oh, and shout out to my downline and friend Kathy Miller. This card design was hers, and I thought, oh my gosh, this would make such a wonderful video with just, you know, displaying that you don't have to always color stamps that look like you have to color them. We're going to add this front right to our Crushed Curry card base. Isn't that just a really pretty, vibrant color combination? Then I've got another piece of Crushed Curry here. This is 2 3/4 by 4. I'm going to just set that aside for a little bit. I've got a piece of watercolor paper that is also 2 3/4 by 4. A little 1/2 strip of Whisper White, and the inside is 4 by 5 1/4. I am going to do the same thing to this one. Whoops, wrong color. Hang on. I'm going to do the same thing to this one that we did to the last one. I really like to have a selection of all occasion cards so that it doesn't say a specific thing in it, like happy birthday or happy anniversary, so that I can stamp whatever I want whenever I need it. So I can just grab this and stamp a greeting in there, or I can just write a note in it. So I'm just going to stamp that right here. We're going to add that to the inside of our card. Ooh, I need to stamp another greeting on there too, I think. Stamp this one on here too. And again, this is just kind of an all occasion greeting. So grateful. Everybody's grateful, right? Just add that right there. Okay, now on this watercolor layer, instead of stamping and coloring in the whole floral image, we're going to bring in an aqua painter and our ink and our ink pad lid. And I want to use my larger aqua painter here. And I'm just adding some water to it, okay? So I'm kind of squeezing out some water so it's good and juicy. And now I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to make a watercolor wash background. And that's it. That's all you do. That's how we're making beautiful backgrounds. So I'm going to clean off my aqua painter here. Grab a tissue. I just wiped that right off my paper. I'm done with this. Now, you need to let this dry before you do anything else to it. So, through the magic of TV, I've already done that. Now I'm going to bring in that milk can and my Blackberry Bliss ink, and I'm going to stamp my water can or milk can right on here. And then I'm going to come in with this image, and I'm going to stamp that right at the top. So I'm meeting that milk can edge. Isn't that just pretty? It's just, and again, this looks like a stamp set that you would need to color everything in, but you don't need to color. You don't always have to color stuff. So now I'm going to put this on my layer, and this is kind of unique too because we're going to just offset this a little bit. And I thought Kathy was just so clever when she made this. I just really thought it was beautiful and very clever. We're going to bring in that little 1/2-inch strip here and stamp that with the Happy Harvest Blessings. And that looks pretty darn good. Get my paper snips out here, and I just want to make a little banner end in here. So I'm going to snip in the middle and then come in from each corner. I found that this works really good for me if I can't use my triple banner punch. I've got mini dimensionals here. I'm going to add a couple of those to this layer. And then we're going to put that right across the can. And then we're going to add this to the front of our card. It's going to go right here. I'm kind of putting it in the middle, way over at the left. And then I've got some of our basic pearls. I can figure out how to open them. You have to be smarter than the packaging to use most of these products. Some days are better than others, aren't they? Okay, I don't need this pokey tool anymore. I'm going to use the flat end, which I think of as a spatula, to help me pick up some of these tiny little pearls. Whoops, there we go. And I'm just going to place those randomly on my layer. And I always like to do things in threes. How about right down here? Or odd numbers is the best policy when you're adding embellishments like this. Last but not least, I have some of that braided trim, and I'm going to make a little bow here with my bow jig. Now you guys have seen me use this a gazillion times, but if you happen to be new, if you would like to get your hands on one of these, my friend Denise's husband makes them, and Denise has agreed to be the supplier for them. You need to pop me an email email me at kelly@astampabove.com and I will forward your email on to Denise. Now, if you leave a message in the comments, that doesn't give me your email address, and that's what I need to be able to forward it on to Denise. So I just want to let you know that it's really important you email me so I have your email address to give to her. Okay, here comes a mini glue dot. Oops, let's make sure it sticks on there. And our little bow. Just like that. And again, I'm just going to trim these up a little bit. And maybe I would like to fray them. These just twist in and out, just like that. I'm going to fray that a little bit. Fray this one a little bit. I just really like that look. I think it's kind of neat. Isn't that a pretty card? So now we have 2 cards using the Country Home stamp set that you would think you would have to do a lot of coloring on, but we didn't color on them at all. Now I have one more tip for this stamp set. I think you're really gonna like this. This was shared with me by my upline, Ann Huebner, and I am going to take the oval label and I'm going to stamp that in the Blackberry Bliss, and then I'm going to come in with the thanks and stamp that right in the middle. Oh, I did pretty good. It's always a bonus, right? I'm going to come in with our Christmas Bulb Builder punch, and if you use that to punch out this oval, look how nicely that fits in there. So once you do that, we don't have a die or a punch that punches out this little label, but once you use that punch, you just have a tiny bit of trimming to do on each end of this label to get it ready to be put on a card. And if you, you should have seen me make this card. This is from a while ago, like maybe earlier this month, maybe late last month. But this is a card that is I made for a YouTube video. But look at that. Super, super easy, right? I was just like, you know how somebody shows you something, they're like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? A light bulb moment with the Christmas Bulb Builder punch. So here we have 3 great cards, one of which I did color, the other 2 are not colored, which was the whole point of my video today, to show you that there's other ways to use these stamp sets besides coloring. And then that Christmas Bulb Builder punch with that oval in the Country Home stamp set. This is probably one of my favorite sets out of the Holiday Mini Catalog because I have seen and received so many gorgeous cards in swaps that I do as a demonstrator. My teen meetings, we do swaps at that. That's where I got this one from Kathy. And I thought, oh my gosh, I just love what she did there. One of my favorite ones. So if you'd like to get your hands on this, you can go right to my blog at stampabove.com. If it's still October, use this host code. If it's not October, in the right-hand column on my blog, you'll find a new host code for the next month or the next month. It's always right there for you. You get special perks from me when you use that code. Now, I also want to let you know that anybody placing a $50 order with me until I run out of card kits, I have an entire kit with all the layers for you to be able to make this card that will be going out as a special thank you when you place a $50 or more order with me starting today until I run out of kits. And I will be making some more. I only have 4 here to show you, but I will be making some more. So if you'd like to get your hands on one of these kits, head on over to my store, put in an order. I want to thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your day to spend with me. I hope you've enjoyed this, wait, what? Wednesday tip video. It was jam-packed with some great ideas, right? Don't forget, you can click up here to go right to my blog. You can click down here to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You don't want to miss anything I have coming out. I also have some online classes on my blog. You can check those out in the right-hand column. You guys have yourselves a wonderful Wednesday. Bye-bye.